But at the moment, neither of those goals had him reaching for the gas pedal of the Mercedes or took his mind off the buzzing phone in his pocket. Or, for that matter, the small yet growing kidney-shaped stain he suddenly noticed in the center of his button-down shirt. Spit up, applesauce, or coffee. Not that it really made much of a difference. He took a deep breath and finally reached past the stain on his shirt toward the inside pocket of his jacket. He withdrew the phone, still vibrating with another hail of new texts, and stared down at the screen. Then, his eyes went wide. Most of the texts were from Twitter's chairman, Bret Taylor, who had joined the board at Twitter in 2016 and matriculated to chairman in 2021 after stints at Facebook, where he'd been CTO, and Google, where he had famously co-created Google Maps. A few were from other members of Parag's management team. The rest were from coworkers, colleagues across Silicon Valley, friends, and even one from his wife, who must have just seen the news as she finished feeding their newborn. Parag's face went numb as he read through the texts, then scrolled through various links to news sites, then, of course, to Twitter itself. It didn't take him long to get the gist of what had just happened, though it would take more time to digest the ramifications. He closed his eyes for a moment, then removed his glasses and wiped at the smudges of humidity that had just formed across the lenses. According to the texts, news sites, and tweets, Elon Musk, currently the world's richest man, had just filed with the SEC, effectively announcing that he had acquired a 9.5% stake in Twitter. The shares he'd quietly accumulated were valued around $3 billion. Parag shook his head, then put the glasses back on. Then he blinked, as if willing the texts, news, and tweets to vanish from his phone's screen and from the timeline he was obviously about to live through. Not because he had anything personal against Elon. Quite the opposite, he considered Elon one of the most brilliant entrepreneurs in history. An engineer, like Parag, who obviously loved Twitter as much as anyone. But here was Parag, 6 months into his new role of CEO, and he had a deep suspicion that his entire world was about to be turned upside down. The manner in which Elon had acquired and announced the stake was one big, glaring, unavoidable warning sign. In the SEC filing, Elon had called the accumulative shares passive, but he had bought them in secret, backdoor fashion. According to the filing, he'd actually acquired the stake back on March 14th, 21 days before, indicating the filing was in violation of SEC regulations, which mandated that any purchase of shares beyond 5% of a company had to be declared within 20 days. The extra day seemed purposeful, especially considering Elon's notoriously public battles with the SEC and his vocal dislike of the organization. By breaking regulations with the Twitter shares filing, Elon would subject himself to a penalty, usually in the range of $100,000. Though, to a man worth $300 billion, $100,000 was like pennies an average person might lose behind a couch cushion. What concerned Parag were the possible ramifications of Elon's current focus on the site, which had made headlines both within and outside the company. Elon's Twitter poll of March 25th, around Twitter's actions concerning free speech, had garnered enormous attention. In retrospect, one of his follow-up tweets, "The consequences of this poll will be important. Please vote carefully," wasn't some throwaway remark. According to the SEC filing, Elon had already acquired nearly 10% of the company before he'd posted his poll.